So in today's video, I'm going to be doing a teardown and a screen replacement on an Oppo Revo 5G. So to begin with, I've had it on a heat pad, and now I'm going to use some isopropyl alcohol on a thin pry tool and proceed to open up the phone. So the idea behind the isopropyl alcohol sprayed directly onto the pry tool is that what it should do from there is break down the adhesiveness of the double-sided tape that's already there, and will allow you to get into the phone much easier than trying to do it with only the heat. So it's definitely a method that's worthwhile and will save a fair bit of time and possibly other components if you do accidentally break them. So as with most phones, it does take a while to get into there successfully without doing too much or damage or issues. So what I've done from here is, next up I've started to focus on using a small Phillips head screwdriver to undo the screws in the top section of the phone. I do get a little bit carried away there, as it turns out that most of this top section doesn't actually need to be removed. Once you remove the top plastic cover, just disconnect the battery, and then from there you should be able to start work on the bottom half of the phone. So this section here I've just put in fast forward, mainly due to it not actually being that interesting. So while I'm doing this, I will go on a bit of a tangent. Oppo. Oppo is one brand that I've never really had much to do with before. I've definitely seen their cheaper models of phones, sub 200 Australian dollar, but this is the first flagship one that I've dealt with. The internals of this phone remind me of an older HTC, so around the age of probably the HTC, I think it was the HTC 10 and the HTC 9, I think it was. Now, one thing to note up here, at the very top of the phone, there is a few screws that are a size different. They are also a different colour. There we go, now we're in the actual phone itself. Disconnect this flex cable, but it is better to disconnect the battery. And just disconnected one particular sensor as well, just so I can remove that plastic shield. So once we've done all that, now we want to actually get to the point of focus, which is the bottom half of the screen of the phone itself. And here we go. So the bottom half of the phone itself is very straightforward to disassemble. Just the same size Phillips head screws all around the bottom there. I will zoom in and also put it in fast forward for a little bit too. Now with all that removed, including that little daughter board that's down the bottom there, you should be able to see the exposed flex connector for the display. So you should be able to flick that up. Then from here we're going to have to get into some prying. So we'll need to remove the front display from here, which I found doesn't really have that much adhesive on it to hold it into position. So it should be relatively easy to get off once you get a decent tool in there to pry it. I have had this on the heat pad for a while now, so the frame itself is also extremely hot to touch. So I do jump around with my fingers quite a bit on here. There we go, so I'm just comparing this. The little bit on the phone itself that you can see sticking up is another wee little collection of sensors, which removing the small screws up the very top of the screen on the back will enable you to remove that. So from here I'm just going to proceed to dig this out. Now we've almost reached the apex of this repair. One thing that does fall out here that I could not figure out where it came from is that small little silicon gasket. Small little blue one that's just under the screen right now. There. I believe that was on the inside near the flex connector, as it seems to fit into that location. I'm not sure if that's to seal it or to hold the flex connector in a certain position, but I wasn't able to put that one back in. So from here on out, what I'm going to do is give the frame a complete clean, and then a little brush with a toothbrush just to remove any possible glass fragments, but I'm pretty confident I removed all the sections that need to go. And then from there use some B7000 frame adhesive to stick the screen down, only using a thin bead of it all around the outer perimeter. So to replicate the original one, or the original screen, I didn't do any in the center, as I think that may cause issues with the under-screen fingerprint scanner. So I did avoid that. And then from there it's pretty much reassembly. So I'm going to let the video play out from here. I hope this helps you with your screen replacement on your Revo 5G, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.